How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have the Inside Out with us tonight. They can say their names and what they do in the band.
My name's James. I sing and I play guitar.
I'm John. Play bass and I sing a little bit sometimes.
I'm Andy and I play the drums.
I'm Zach. I'm the lead guitarist. Do some backing vocals. Occasionally hop on the synth.
Oh, all right. Look at that. Love it. Well, guys, thank you for coming on. I also want to give a shout out to Erica. I've known her for mucho years, so she is a big salutes to her. She's fantastic. So go check her stuff out. She's got some stuff cooking. So, but wanted to have you guys on. She's like DM'd me. I think I was arguably one of the first people she DM'd, and she's like, "Listen, I think these guys are perfect for your channel." And I was like, "All right, I was like, send it over. Let me listen to it." And I was like, we'll get it set up. And I listened to it. I was like at work listening to it, and I was like, yeah, this is good. This is something I can get down with. So I immediately messaged her back, and I was like, all right, when can we do this? So it worked out pretty well, obviously. So huge thanks to you guys for coming on. But in regards to your band, I only know that you released an album last year in November, but I would love to know the origin story of the Inside Out. How'd you guys come together? Feel free to leave in as much information as you want. I'm a nerd about music, so spare no expense. Take all the time you need.
I'll start with this, and then I'll kind of like let these guys kind of take over as maybe their part of the story comes in.
Sure.
So I started the Inside Out with a couple old friends from high school and college in like 2017.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of were just jamming off song ideas I had, and we released our first little EP in 2018. We got some like recognition off of some music we recorded over the years, and then we did a band change up and lineup change towards the end of 2019. I met Zach at a job we were both working, Sam Ash Music Stores. I'm sure you've heard of it.
No, never heard of it, honestly.
So, and then after Zach and I kind of linked up and we're playing music together, I found Andy as a new drummer, and we kind of all clicked, and it was great. Then COVID happened, and we kind of just locked ourselves in a studio that I was working at the time called Sage Sound Studios. And we just kept writing and writing and writing. We finally were like, we need to get a serious bass player on board because Zach's too good at guitar to be playing bass. And then we found John here, and I'll kind of let the story kind of travel that way. You guys can kind of fill in how you want.
Yeah, I mean, we were writing and recording at that studio that James was mentioning earlier, and I was on Craigslist trying to find a bassist for us. And
Wow.
it was like page 5. All of a sudden, I'm like, this guy looks perfect. Let's like talk to him, and the rest is history. But
Yeah, she was too scared though, because so here's what happened. It was funny. So John here, our lovely bassist, he didn't have a car.
No, I had a car.
Oh, he had a car, but it was broke down.
It was busted.
Typical bassist.
Aw.
So anyway, so he's like, yeah, I want to be in the band, but can you pick me up?
That's cute.
And Andy was like, I'm not picking him up.
get some guy.
So I was like, it's okay.
That's fair. Yeah.
I'll go get axe murdered. It's fine.
Yeah.
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 Oh my God.
I found the band through Twitter.
That's how I found Andy when I asked her to kind of try out and everything.
The internet. Yeah.
We were like probably friends through some mediums on Twitter memes and things like that. And I ended up seeing her respond to my post about a drummer, and I was like, oh, this girl's badass. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. I was like, that's really cool. I always find that Craigslist stories are either like the most sketchy stuff you can possibly think. It's just like, yeah, so we like traveled into this cabin in like upstate New York. Like their van was like parked off like the beaten path. All the lights were out, and then they didn't murder me, so that was great, So I always find that I think Craigslist sometimes can be the unsung hero, but I also don't want to like go and be like, yeah, go do it, and then like someone gets killed, and then I'm like, well, I can't believe it all, I guess. But oh man, I'm glad it worked out. It seems again the trend seems to be that it's like halfway decent. So I want to seem complicit in the fact that I'm like saying yeah, Craigslist is good, but I'm just like take it at your own risk. You're an adult, you can do it. But yeah, you guys are. I had found out about you guys again through Erica, and then just before we hopped on, I was listening through to No Brains, No Blood, which I'll leave a link below to go pick up. I know they have CDs, merch, all that sort of stuff, so if you can go support them, that'd be awesome. But I made it about halfway through the album. The song I stopped on, which I finished listening through, was I don't know you anymore. That was the last one I finished off before I hopped on here, and I was like, okay, these guys. I'm gonna have to listen to the other half of this album because I feel like it was like, we were like halfway up the hill, and then I was just like, I have to leave like the car parked at the top of the hill. So I'm excited to get into the rest of it. But I would say my favorite that I'd listened to, I would say, is a tie between Separation Anxiety, and I liked Figure Me Out was also another good one as well. So I'd say those are my two faves right now. I don't want to like hold any judgment. I might have some favorites later on in the album, but I would say as of currently right now, those are my favorites. But I have to ask as well to you guys, for people who maybe aren't familiar with the Inside Out, what song would you recommend to a new listener to check out to give them a kind of a rough idea of what you guys sound like?
I mean, the record kind of takes you through a few different stages of like mental health, kind of like
Hmm.
battle. So it really kind of depends on what mood you're in. There's kind of a little something for everyone. If you're kind of feeling like a little lost and you want to listen to something to kind of relate to, I feel like there's a track for everybody.
Hmm.
Uh, if you're in a pissed off mood, like Separation Anxiety is great. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Uh, if you're in a kind of chill, I just want to put on a longer song in the car ride. Blue or Fiend is a great track. Um, Another one I would recommend for that would be like It's All in Your Head, It's All in the Past. That's a good one as well. But yeah, I mean, these guys, I'm sure they have different opinions.
Yeah, I think our song "Fire" kind of covers all the bases of like.
Ooh, okay.
It's kind of the climax of the record for sure.
That song's kind of a journey in and of itself.
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it's just like sort of almost a roller coaster of all the ideas that went into each individual song. So yeah, you can kind of think of it as almost like each song is sort of like a bit of a fractal of the album, like in the sense that there's kind of overlapping elements, but
Sure.
there's certain themes that might be kind of focused on more within certain songs. So yeah.
Oh, nice. Andy, did you agree with the Fire? Is that the one you're going with?
Yeah, it's probably my favorite one to play. So.
Okay.
It's cool. It goes through a bunch of compound time signature changes. It's probably I think our fastest song on the record, I believe. It's interesting. It gets really really heavy, but it also gets really soft. It's a little bit of everything. Comes across pretty heavy right out the gate.
It
But
did, like, yeah.
soft, though. It does end pretty soft.
Yeah,
That's it. What were you gonna say?
It gets a little shoegazy at the end.
I'm all about that. I feel like you guys kind of hit that soft spot of like emo, and then you have like a little bit of grunge, and then I feel like it gets into like this like alt rock shoegazy kind of feel. And I've been on that wave for a little bit, so I feel like you guys are definitely like tapping into the psyche here for me, which I love. I think two of the bands that I could think of that at least I was like trying to figure out sitting here, and I was like, man, what bands do they kind of emulate? And I felt like two bands that came to mind were the first one being Matchbox Romance, classic OG, like, obviously emo band. And then Citizen was the second band that I could think of. Like, so I feel like for me personally, those were the two that like stuck out. I'm sure there's probably another one that I will get to once I listen to the rest of the album, but I would say as of right now, those two bands were the ones I was like, okay, they got that emo grunge vibe, all about it here. So definitely dug that. Which segues perfectly into the next question I have for you guys. Who got you started out on your respective instrument? Who was like the first person you're like, you know what, that seems like so cool to do. I definitely want to do that. And then who influences your style more currently now in terms of the artists you're listening to?
My first interest in guitar was actually just I didn't really start playing music seriously until I was like maybe 16. Actually, my brother, however, though, my brother Nick, he was playing guitar when he was like 10.
Oh,
And
wow.
he would play in his room all the time. He took guitar lessons. He was learning Metallica and Led Zeppelin and everything, and Ozzy Osbourne, whatever have you. You know what I mean? And one day I was like, I would go hang out in the room with him while he was learning, and I picked up the guitar and I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, this makes noise and it was fun. And I like picked it up and he taught me how to play Crazy Train, but I actually learned how to play it with just my thumb because I didn't know how to hold the guitar right.
What?
And I was like, oh, this is cool. But it was like, I'm definitely, he was like, you're doing it wrong.
And then I've been playing with my thumb ever since.
Yeah, I really, really liked Green Day when I was younger. So when I learned how to play guitar, actually taught myself, I was like, I'd love to be in a band that's like really like, kind of Green Day like.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't end up doing that vibe because as I grew older, I really drifted more towards bands like Citizen and Modest Mouse, The Killers, kind of a little bit more like, profound sounding, I feel like, versus punk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Segue that.
Yeah, so I grew up playing guitar first before bass, typical bass player story. And so I started learning, like, my first song was Letter Bomb by Green Day that I learned.
Oh, nice.
And then I got like super into Blink and Taking Back Sunday and all that stuff. And then like the first record that made me, or the first band that made me like want to buy a bass and learn how to play bass was Balance and Composure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then my roommate in college had like a bass that I would fuck around with like while he was in class. And then eventually bought my own bass and then joined this band. And then it was like full-time bass after that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so when I started learning how to drum, there was a particular Christmas that my parents bought my brother a cheap used drum set because he said he wanted to learn drums. So they put this cheap used drum set in the basement. Same Christmas that we got Rock Band.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I wasn't going to be on like the microphone singing, and my brothers wanted to play the guitar, so I was stuck with the drums. And I was wait, like this is actually really fun. And I went down to the basement and translated those Rock Band songs into real drums. And then my brother never really touched the drum set, but I continued learning. I was listening to a lot of like, I guess like punk songs, and I just started learning the music I was listening to, which is like Billy Talent and Good Charlotte.
Oh, yeah.
I was really into in high school, so that's what I was learning on.
Over here, I've just been playing music my entire life. Started cello at 3, picked up guitar and bassoon at 10. Learned some other instruments along the way. I just go into multiple rabbit holes at once, and that's just kind of how my brain works.
What?
That was casual, right?
I mean,
It's just I picked up the cello.
Yeah. And then as far as listening to music and really kind of taking a deeper appreciation of it, might have been when I was around 7 or 8, just as far as listening to different elements that are going on in songs, and was really into the Police. So I guess I'd say Sting was a big influence, and then these days I listen to a lot of kind of like indie, beachy, sometimes punky, just various artists, Fiddler, The Strokes, Killers, Bass Drum of Death, etc. And then of course other genres too. So yeah, just anything that hits the nerds,
I can't believe that shit blew my mind. He was just like, you just played the cello, the bassoon, the tuba, the theremin, keys, xylophone. I feel like he could have just kept going on, and I would have been like, yeah, okay, Okay.
Fun
Yeah.
stuff.
I don't know if I believe that one, but okay, that seems legitimate. And then he just, we just keep going down like the list of instruments. Wow, that's wild. I wish I was that dedicated at like 3 years old to be like, yeah, you know what, cello. That seems to that seems to be a good starting point. Oh man. Yeah, I was just like a normal kid at 3. I wasn't like trying to learn cello, but hey, kudos. Listen, that's
I put it on a 16.
yeah. How did you use it?
It's a giant viola.
He had a really, really interesting stool.
He just had like really long arms as a 3-year-old. He had cello arms. Yeah, that's what they would call it if you were a cellist at 3 years old. You call them cello arms. So that's crazy. I'm probably not. Like, I'm thinking about that now, and that is probably the only thing I'm gonna be thinking about now. Is I was just like, yeah, just playing cello at 3 years old. I wish I was that cool. So, but I love asking that question because I find that either people like much like myself, I grew up listening to like a lot of classic rock, and my parents are like really big classic rock heads. So like, I grew up listening to that sort of stuff and got like involved that way. Then obviously migrated to like much heavier music that I don't listen to as much classic rock anymore, but I do love when I find out about how artists like really get their start and stuff. So obviously it made an impact enough to start a band. So I feel like it's important knowledge. But I also love that you guys mentioned Balance and Composure. That was like the other band I was thinking of, and I couldn't remember it. But that I feel like that's another band you guys definitely have like strong influence from as well. So if you like any of those 3 bands, Matchbox Romance, Citizen, or Balance and Composure, this is the band to check out, certainly. I also wanted to give a shout out. We have a mutual friend, Chris Kunchak, who did the Figure Me Out music video. So shout outs to Chris. My man is nuts. So salutes to him. He's doing some good stuff. So always love giving it a shout if I can. But the next question I have for you guys is another fun one. What are you guys currently jamming? What's on the Spotify? What have you guys been listening to lately?
I've been listening to a lot of like Dive, Citizen, honestly, Balance and Composure. I feel like I always listen to the same repeat bands because if it isn't broken, don't fix it. But
That's fair.
I do love when I hear a new band that really like grabs my attention. And recently, that's pretty much been it for me. Modest Mouse, rest in peace, Jeremiah. He was an amazing drummer.
Mm-hmm.
But they just released a record not too long ago. Was jamming that. Still have them always on repeat. But yeah, that's not really for me. That's what I jam to.
I'm kind of late to both these bands, but as of recently, I've been jamming to a lot of this band called Web Wing.
Ooh,
which
yeah,
is like a side project of Super Heaven. If I don't know, your viewers probably know them.
yes, I hope so.
I'm like pretty late on Movements.
Oh wow,
You've heard of them as well.
Enough, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sick. Nice. Oh yeah, so those are my 2 main ones right now.
Andy?
So I'm always jamming to like Gorillaz, The Strokes, Arctic Monkeys, the classics that I could always go back to and enjoy. I've been listening to that new Boy Genius single.
Yes.
I love Boy Genius.
Yeah.
Julian Baker.
Yeah,
yes.
And R.I.P. Panic at the Disco today. I need to listen to them on my ride home tonight.
This January is brutal.
It is, yeah.
Jeez, Steve Crosby on it. Let's see. There's definitely a little bit of overlap for me with some names that you guys have mentioned. Definitely Dive. Love the Strokes. Can't wait to see more concerts from just like all these great guys. I don't know. I listen to a lot of classic rock. Still really into like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, all that type of stuff. Nothing, Basement, as far as more kind of grungy, recent stuff. I'm really all over the fucking place. So
Basement's sick. I feel like they're underrated. Not a lot of people talk about them, but like I feel it's like if you know kind of a thing. Like if you bring up basement, everybody it's like, unlocking the secret door. Everybody's like, okay, cool.
It's
You're
just
cool.
so much
I like you.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I gotta give a lot of love to Basement. I don't feel like I talk about them enough on the channel, but I love their stuff. It's so fucking good. So big salutes to Basement. Come on the channel. That'd be sick. That'd be awesome. The next question I have for you guys is a fun one as well. If you guys could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
So I mean, we actually have songs we do cover. I think
Ooh.
collectively our favorite cover we've done is probably Joyce Manor's "Constant Headache." I don't know if we all agree with that. I would assume we all agree with that, but we actually literally were just jamming tonight, rehearsing before the interview, and we played that song like 3 times.
Sick.
Just because we haven't played it in a while, and that's probably our favorite to cover. We also cover like some other tracks as well, but that's probably our favorite.
We've done "Make Damn Sure" by Taking Back Sunday. That's
Ooh.
my favorite.
See, I love when we cover that one because actually, speaking of like Zach, John, and like my multi-instrumental kind of ability, like these guys actually do a flip-flop when we play that song. So John actually gets to play guitar for a little bit. He gets to bring out his, his red Gibson and pretend he's Fred for a little bit. And then and Zach actually just shreds away on the bass. And Andy and I are stuck doing what we do best.
Oh, that's all right. Well, we'll figure out a song where you guys swap. That'd be kind of interesting. But if you guys were to add like a new song, like if you guys were collectively trying to come up with a new one, do you feel like do you guys have any ideas on what you would love to cover that you haven't yet?
Yeah, I think we have a couple on our list of like covers to learn this year, and one is
Fluorescent Adolescent. That's the one I first cover.
Yeah, it'd be really fun to cover that by the Arctic Monkeys. And one that I know Zach and I have been kind of itching, trying to push the other guys to learn is there's 2 songs by them actually, but we'll probably end up picking one. But Surf Curse, either disco or free.
Oh, okay.
A little bit more upbeat, but it's still it's more that shoegazy vibe, I guess. But it's definitely one that I want to cover this year.
Like beach punk and distributes it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There we go. Well, guys, if you have any suggestions for the Inside Out, drop them in the comments.
Please.
Who knows what was going to happen? You could give them a great cover. Please don't give them a bad one. I don't want to be responsible for, if it's a bad choice, I don't want it to come back on me. I'm just here asking the questions, So if you give them a bad choice and it gets thumbs up a bunch of times, my hands are clean. All right. So that's all I'm saying. But the next question I have for you guys is, what is your favorite food to eat?
Pretty start.
I mean, honestly, for me, I love a medium rare steak, ribeye. I'm
going tacos all day.
Oh yeah. All right.
I was gonna say quesadillas.
Wow.
Variant of food.
Man, all those sound amazing right now, but just a variation. Let's say pad thai with some crispy chicken, a little lime.
Oh yeah, that's solid.
Go with
that. I love it. Those are some great choices. I feel like I would devour all of them. As being, again, I love a good Mexican meal. So I feel like I'd have to go with that. Nothing like some tacos or like a nice burrito. I'm all about that. So feel that, feeling the vibes. The Inside Out vibes. So, but the next question I have for you guys is, if you guys could pick a dream collaboration on an up and coming Inside Out song, who would you just absolutely love to collaborate with?
That's a tough question.
Are we talking like a feature or like a producer?
You could either go producer, if you want to give me a producer, and a feature of some sort. We can do that.
I feel like for me, like it's pretty obvious, but I'd love to do something like with Isaac Brock from Modest Mouse. I feel like that'd be awesome. Or honestly, like even as like our songs progress, I know we've been working on a lot of upbeat, kind of more indie rock songs. Like honestly, even something with the Killers and Brandon Flowers.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm a big audio nerd, so I'm gonna have to go production on this one. But I'm gonna say I'm a massive fan of Eric Valentine. I think his records are
Ooh, nice. Yeah.
and Sam Pura is another like audio savant like him that I would love to work with.
Sam Pura is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm blanking. I can't really think of who I would.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah.
We'll come back to you.
I'm torn with a lot of options right now. I want to say Steve Albini would be very towards the top of the list.
Ooh.
What he's done for the Pixies, his first production, of course, the famous Nirvana in Utero album.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just love watching his interviews. Just popping it on when I'm bored on YouTube and just kind of listening to what he's thinking, what he's listening to. It's all pretty fascinating. So
I feel
like
like
that.
to come back on the producer front too. I feel like somebody I've always looked up to as a producer too. I went to school for music production. Zach and myself, we actually own a recording studio label called Black Girl Records. But Will Yip, he's phenomenal. He's done so many of my favorite records that I literally probably wouldn't still be playing music if I didn't have those to listen to. So he'd be someone really cool to collaborate with.
Salutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy?
Yeah, Andy.
I'm still blanking. I don't know. Too many to choose from.
Too many
I do.
Perfect answer.
Everybody.
Too many great.
Everyone, just right now. Go DM them now. Everyone, do it. No, I feel like that's a tough. I always have a very interesting time answering that question because I feel like from like the production aspect of things, like there's so many great producers out there. I also want to give a shout out to Will Yip because I'm from Pennsylvania, so salutes to the man. I'm not too far away from his studio, and I think he just puts out some fantastic work. So big salutes to Will Yip. But yeah, that's a hard question. I feel it's just gotta be somebody that's gonna fit right. So I agree with that. But guys, this is the time in the interview where I'd say you need to go on to Twitter and then you need to tag the Inside Out on Twitter and then just pick who you would love to hear a collaboration from. Type in collab ? Listen, I didn't go to law school. I'm not a lawyer, but if it's on the internet, it's got to be real. So I feel like might as well put it out in the universe. And who knows? Maybe they might do a collab song. So that'd be kind of sick. So if you want to make it happen, do it up. That'd be awesome. But the next question I have for you guys: if there was another musical instrument you could master, what would it be?
I mean, I can dabble with it, like on the piano. I guess I should start with the piano. But I speak like Yoda sometimes.
It's all right. I was picking up what you were putting down.
Exactly. So yeah, I could dabble with the piano, and I love like just completely transcending when I'm playing it. And when I was in school, I learned a lot with it. But I'd love to be able to sit down and fully be able to do what I can do with guitar on piano. It's a little hard when you start so late in the game with the muscle memory, but I think it's definitely one of my bucket list goals for sure.
There we go.
For me, it's drums for sure. Growing up, I remember when they would give us instruments in elementary school. They gave us for us. It's weird. Nobody else has a story, but they gave us like a bubble test to see what instrument we'd best like match up with.
wow.
Is this like Green Dragon Camp?
No. Elementary school. But, so I answered other questions that I thought would get me drums, and of course I didn't get drums. So yeah. So it's altered my life forever.
It's a questionnaire, just like which one of these instruments do you hit, and then it's just like, fuck, I don't think it's drums. It can't be.
But yeah, so it would be drums in another life.
So,
And it could be better.
for me, it's definitely bass. Right before I joined this band, like a couple months before, actually, I bought a bass and started learning. I learned a few simple songs, and I was having a lot of fun. I was living in an apartment at the time, so it was hard to really drum often. So I was like, I need an instrument that I could just like hang out and play like relatively quietly.
Yeah.
But yeah, ever since joining this band, I've been very focused on the drums every chance I get. So if I ever, had the time, I'd love to master the bass.
That's a good choice.
Gonna have to say, probably also piano for me.
Hell yeah.
Mainly just because, the studio that James and I own are going to be getting a really nice vintage Steinway from like the early 1940s and all that.
Wow.
And then I'm at probably a similar level as James as far as like the dabbling and good enough for just kind of raw ideas and all that. But just to actually kind of get at the level where you could really go, brain to fingers and all that type of stuff. Aside from that, I'm trying to get better at the triangle. You just play square one.
I think you can get there, It's low level of entry, but like high skill cap,
Right.
I absolutely love that. That's awesome. And I did have a question in regards to the album itself too. Considering that, a large majority of your band are producers, do you feel like you guys were extra hard on yourselves in regards to like producing the album, putting it together? Because I feel like for me in doing interviews, I just think like I'm a very like mid-tier, low-tier interviewer, right? So I'm always like very hypercritical of what I do. So I imagine you guys painstakingly like took the time to be like, we're gonna do this with the album, and if it sucks, then I'm just gonna throw it out the window and we're gonna start from scratch all over again. Like, do you feel like the process? Feel like you guys are harder on yourselves in that process since you do it.
Well, we recorded it twice. So
Yeah.
So actually,
I don't know.
so technically, we actually recorded it we recorded it twice.
Well, we demoed
But it was recorded 3 times, maybe even 3.5 times. So I mean, and honestly, part of that has to do with like I said, COVID happened and we were writing.
Yeah.
I was in my apartment, pissing off my now wife with just like yelling at a fake vocal booth in my office, recording the demos for the song, and then I would show Andy and Zach the songs, and I'd be like, "Hey, do you guys like this one? Do you like this one?" And then we would take the ideas and kind of make them into what they are now.
Mhm.
But honestly, even those ideas, the demos, changed when we actually recorded them at Sage Sound first, and they became demos again, essentially, because once we added John, he was like, "Well, I think they could still be a little bit better." And as we kind of
Wow.
progressed, then all of a sudden, fast forward now, actually, Zach and I had our own studio and our own place, and we were like, we have our own place now. Why don't we just actually completely retrack it? We have our lineup. Let's do it. And even throughout that process, we were really, really critical. We honestly, I'm very proud with how the record came out, but it was definitely a journey. I'll leave it like that.
Art is pain.
Yeah, art
I
is
was
pain.
gonna say, like, holy shit.
Kind of sequential headaches is like it got refined in a way that we're all ultimately kind of happy with. So
Yeah.
that's the good stuff.
I'm very excited to be working on new stuff.
Hopefully it will not take you 3 attempts to work on the next album. But I gotta give a kudos to John on his just absolute balls to be like, listen, I think we could do better.
Yeah.
And just you guys ultimately going with it and just being like, yeah, we probably should scrap it. Like, what? I would be so pissed. I'd be like, we've recorded this album once already, and now we're in the second session to do this, and then John comes in and I just can imagine John, he like comes in, fucking kicks the door down. He's like, man, I wish, what? He's like, these could sound so much better. I feel like, he was like gone like full Gordon Ramsay. He's like, what are you guys? Idiot sandwiches. All right, cool. And then just like that's, I just got kudos to John for doing that. The gall on you is nuts.
Also, something that added to that was we were playing the songs live for like a whole year.
Oh,
And
okay.
then at that point, we were like, well, now we see these songs at a completely different perspective than when we first recorded them. So it makes sense to, you know, try new stuff.
Who knew John was the catalyst, right?
Yeah.
Gotta give it salutes. So that's probably I'm trying to think in my like 7 years of interviewing bands, I don't think I've ever heard a band record an album, the same album 3 times and then release it. Like usually it's like, oh, okay, these will just end in the demo stage or whatever, something. But I mean, obviously it worked out well because I've been enjoying my time listening through to the album. But man, if I knew how painstaking, now I just got to listen to it more because I feel like I need to be like, listen, I feel your pain on recording the album 3 times. I need to we need to get like the stream of the album like 3 times as high now, guys. So let's do that because I feel like guilt through the computer for you guys. So that's it's never a good thing, but obviously it worked out well. So guys, don't do that. Don't have a John in your band. If you do, just remember it could be you could have to record your album 3 different times. So just
Be wary of Craigslist.
I don't mean to shit on John either. I think he's 2 thumbs up on that. I think it's great, but man, shit, I would be so pissed if I was in your band.
Well, while we're shitting on John, there's a video on our YouTube channel that we posted from like a live performance where I decided to just like roast John in the middle of a set, but like in a great fun way because everybody was drunk. I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm not scared. but like, so I started a chant where just everybody in the bar was chanting John, and it's on our YouTube, so you can look at it there. But I basically made him run out of the venue to a parking garage somewhere. I didn't even remember where it was, and go grab a cape that he stole from a bar.
It's a flag.
It's a flag. All right. So if you really want to hype up John's story, just go watch that video. It'll explain itself.
Oh man, you guys are hitting me with first here. Well, I'll leave a link below if I can find the video, which I will find because I'm, very good on the computer. So I will find that link and it will be in the description and it will be titled John's video. So make sure to click that link. And also while you're there, subscribe to their YouTube channel. So go do that, guys. The next question I have for you guys is a personal favorite of mine. I'm a huge nerd, so I love asking this. If you guys could be a video game character, who would you be?
Link.
Skip me.
Come back.
Pokemon trainer.
Oh, yes.
These days, I do not play a lot of video games at all, so I'm a little at a loss here. Play a little GTA sometimes.
Ooh.
Like Trevor, maybe.
You are Trevor.
Just a colorful character,
Perfect.
10 out of 10.
For you. Trevor's
I was gonna say that's a good choice. I like that.
I only play Warzone now, so I guess I gotta be Ghost. That's my only answer, my only confident answer.
You locked yourself into that one, but I don't know if I could help you out with that. Yeah.
You don't want to be the Fall Guys jelly bean?
Yeah, why didn't you be that, John?
Sure, okay. I'm only getting fatter, so whatever.
I wasn't going there. I was not going there. Not going there, guys. No, I love that. That's great. I'm gonna have to say I have a very slight bias, or what I mean by slight, I mean I have a huge bias with Andy's pick because I'm a huge Pokemon fan. So
Yes.
kudos to the Andy choice. She's the winner of tonight. So salutes.
Not a Pokemon.
But the next question I have for you guys, obviously music related, of course. If you guys were to compile a dream tour lineup, including the Inside Out, who would you love to go on tour with?
I feel like I just get repetitive with this, but I'd love to go on tour with probably Modest Mouse. So I think
just Modest Mouth.
I mean, I feel like if there was another band on the tour, the Pixies would go really well.
Ooh, okay.
Get a little bit of like our emo rock. You get
Yeah.
really fun, quirky in a great way, Modest Mouse, and then you get like that grungy rock Pixies kind of vibe. So I feel like that would be cool.
I like it.
Is it alive or dead? Doesn't matter.
I think I'm gonna do a live tonight. Usually
Okay.
I flip flop, but I feel like a live would be more interesting.
Okay. I'd say probably. I'm a massive Blink fan, so I'd say Blink. Even though I don't know if we line up with them musically, but
Doesn't matter.
that'd be tight. That'd be the
Doesn't matter,
funnest tour
bro.
in
It's
the
your
world.
dream tour.
Yeah.
Right.
Tell them.
Dude,
Let's do it.
them and Foo Fighters, I guess. Would be sick.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
The first thing that popped into my mind was Muse. I think they
Ooh,
put on
hell yeah.
really awesome live shows, so that would be sick to be a part of for sure.
We're doing vocal practice right now.
was
Vocal.
that?
Ooh.
Yeah.
What did you sit on?
Loading over here. I guess Arctic Monkeys would be fucking dope. Love Alex Turner.
That would be sick.
But there's a smaller band. I feel like they don't have a lot of recognition yet. They're called the Audience, but they remind me a lot of just kind of like Is This It, Strokes era, and all that. It's like noticeably different in certain ways, and I don't know. I feel like that would be an interesting blend if we were like the second or third act in that lineup, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, I also love Arctic Monkeys.
Ooh. All right. Yeah.
We want to play stadiums. That's
Yeah.
what we're saying. We're coming for them stadiums.
Man, John really has his balls out right now. That's all I'm saying. My man is just like no holds bar. He's just like, we're playing stadium tours. This tour is starting, world tour is starting in Wembley Stadium. We only play in the largest stadiums across the globe. So, guys, listen, pre-sale tickets in the description. Somebody's gotta line the fat pockets of John over here. So, make sure to just do it up. You heard it here first. So, go do it. The next question I have for you guys. Obviously, I imagine you've seen a lot of live shows in your times, but in your opinion, who puts on a great live performance?
So my favorite ever concert I went to was like back in 2013. I saw a brand new at Upstate Concert Hall in like Clifton Park, New York. That was probably my favorite ever concert. They're not a band anymore, but they used to put on the best live performance, in my opinion. And then to top that, in 2018, I saw Pup at Mercury. And I love Pup. They're such a great band. And live, honestly, I don't think there's a band around right now that gives off such a good live performance, personally.
Good choice.
The two bands I've seen the most in my life are probably New Found Glory and The Dangerous Summer. So those are two. Their shows are always consistently like amazing. So I love those guys.
Not to repeat myself, but like I said, Muse puts on an awesome live performance with all their cool projectors and moving stages. But besides them, one of my favorite shows I've been to was Waves. Their shows were just really fun. I saw them in New Haven a few years ago, and it was awesome. So,
Strokes was an amazing show. I saw them at Governor's Ball 2016. With all the other amazing bands too. But of course, they were one of the headliners, pretty big at that time, right before their You Abnormal release and all that. Really fun lighting, really good stage presence and all that. Runner up to that would probably be the Growlers.
Ooh, yeah.
I saw them in like Webster Hall in New York, but also really good stage presence, and you just feel everything coming right out of speakers from their soul. So it's pretty cool.
You like a good show when it's just like super loud. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting older, but I start wearing the earplugs now, and I'm just like, this is great. I was like, I don't know how as like in a kid slash like young adult where I would stand right next to the monitor and like half my face was just like getting blown out. I couldn't do that now. There's no way. I feel like I would just be like partially deaf for like a month straight. So I never leave my house without my earbuds now when I go to shows. And I like legitimately don't care if people are like, you know, you're ruining your experience. And I'm like, well, I'll also probably be able to hear and still go to concerts when I'm like 70 years old. So kudos.
If we love our hearing, we should protect our hearing.
Exactly.
Otherwise, nobody will be able to enjoy anything.
Yeah, or we'll all just be like standing there and then it'll just be, huh?
What?
Did they already start playing? What song are they on? That's what.
Yeah, when I went to go see the Voids, I couldn't hear for like 3 days after, so it was really bad because I was right next to the speakers up front. So ever since then, I brought earplugs. Yeah.
I feel like you learn your lesson very quickly when you can't hear something. Oh, it's terrible. So, guys, if you're young, protect your hearing now. I know I sound like an old fart, but I swear to God, it's worth it. You'll be glad I'm saying this now and that you can hear it. If not, then currently you're just watching my lips move on YouTube right now, so I can't help you out with that. But the next question I have for you guys is another fun one. What is your favorite TV show, favorite movie?
Like favorite TV show I'm currently binging?
Yeah, let's go with that.
So in general, like
if you want to give both, that's great. You know,
right.
We love a variety.
And then what was the other part? Movie?
Movie, correct, yeah.
Okay, this is tough. I love the movie 21.
Ooh, yeah.
It's got some nerdiness to it, but it's also got some fun angst to it. TV shows, right now I've been binge watching The Walking Dead. I loved it when it was first out. I took a huge break from it because it started to suck. But now, what I will say is now that it's on streaming services and you don't have to wait a year.
That's true.
And all of a sudden, it's better. It's like because you don't have to wait, it's better now. So.
My favorite movie is it's an old movie. It's called High Fidelity.
Oh yeah,
Very cool fucking movie. And then TV show. I don't watch much TV nowadays. I watch a lot of like podcasts. So
what's a good podcast, John? What do you?
Damn. There's a podcast.
I thought you were gonna say mine. You know, then
There's a podcast with Philly comedians called Dad Meat.
Okay. I'm familiar.
Really funny. Good stuff.
All right, for TV shows, currently I've been rewatching Game of Thrones because I've been listening to the books. So I've been doing a little comparison between the books and the movie for this show. But my favorite show of all time is Shameless. It's just my favorite show, hands down. And then my favorite movie's got to be Spirited Away.
Oh, yes. All right.
It's a classic.
I gotta say, for me, TV shows, I could watch any particular episode for like the 30th time and it'd still have the original, like I'm watching for the first time, entertainment value. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh.
I just so much respect for each cast member on there and the fact that they all take like a pretty intimate role in like writing the actual show itself. For movies, and there's a little bit of a cheat since there's TV series and movies. I gotta say Fargo, really good acting, cinematography, just everything about it. It's just like so intriguing. So yeah.
I love it. Fargo. I feel like that's a show I have to start watching because I have a couple of people recommend it. Like all right, I'll have to start watching it then, and then I'll DM you guys and be like, "Yo, this is sick. I love it." But yeah, I like that. Great choices, you know. So
yeah, we're actually all pretty big fans of It's Always Sunny. We dressed up as like the Dayman situation for Halloween last year.
Oh my God, that's great.
You find on our Instagram, you might find the photos.
All right, I'll throw it up on the screen, guys, so you know don't have to go looking for it. I got you.
We had fun with it.
I think my favorite part about that was that Zach was D.
So he was in like the princess dress.
Oh my God, that's great. Okay, I'm now gonna have to post. Brandon is gonna search for that photo.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it. The next question I have for you guys is: if you were trapped on a desert island for the next month, and there was one album you could bring with you to listen to, what album would that be?
Mine's gonna be "The Lonesome Crowded West" by Modest Mouse.
Ooh,
Yeah, for sure that one.
This is so hard. This is so hard.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think, it's going to be Where You Want to Be by Take Back Sunday.
ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so close, dude. I'll sneak that one under my shirt.
I'm gonna be the police and be like, no.
You're gonna have to watch it throw it in the water.
Yeah.
For me, it's "Young and the Hopeless" by Good Charlotte. That's the album that started it all for me. So definitely that one.
I'm torn between listening to "Room on Fire" by The Strokes on repeat until the day that I just kind of came into the beach versus maybe like an instructional kit on how to contact the Coast Guard.
Oh,
so yeah,
that is not off the table. So yeah, I like that. You know, I had someone else say that. They're like, how to build a raft, audiobook. And I was like, fuck, man, that's a great answer. I hate you. Why did you pick that? I know you listen to music, so what's wrong with you? But I appreciate it. It's those little borderline answers that, simultaneously I'm like, that's smart, but also then I'm like, man, you're a big asshole.
That's not music, though. I mean, listen to
Hey, I mean, it could have background music in the instructions. You know?
Don't try to reason with me. I know what type of question I asked.
Jazz, elevator music.
He's like, oh man, that's great. The next question I have for you guys is a question I've been asking over the past yearish, basically after COVID. Just because I feel like for myself, I found a resurgence of loving to do this. I feel like, a lot of people, social batteries and things of that nature probably wore thin over that time period, and we were able to kind of get, a little bit of moments to ourselves, certainly. But I feel like I've gotten this new passion to do this and interview bands like yourselves. So first of all, kudos for coming on. But I wanted to know, what makes you guys passionate about music? Like, why is this something that's important to you? Why is it in your life? Very similarly to why I decide to talk to strangers on the internet, why is this important to you? Why do you continue to go back to do it? And why does it bring you so much joy?
For me, it's honestly the sense of escape that I feel from it, from reality, and but also tying into reality sometimes too into it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Bringing it into what I do every day is kind of makes me who I am. Without it, I feel like I would kind of lose that sense of identity I kind of feel comfortable with. And then honestly, my favorite part about it is just those one-off connections you can make with people where they're like, and you get them every once in a while. Those lyrics really hit me here.
Yeah.
Song just really, made me completely just reflect on what I was thinking about. I feel like those are the big hits for me.
Growing up an only child, I was always looking for ways to entertain myself growing up. So I've had 3 passions in my life. It started with art, and then it became skateboarding, and then I've stuck with music the longest. So yeah, that's been fun.
It's kind of cliche to say, but music's one of those constants that's always been there for me through thick and thin. Every phase of my life, it's always helped me through so much, and especially with drumming, the physical aspect of getting a workout in while connecting with music. I don't know, it just helps for so many different parts of my life. So
For me, I mean, it's like I mentioned before. I started, getting into playing music myself at a really young age because my parents had a placemat with a bunch of like orchestral instruments. I was like, that cello looks really fucking cool. I was probably trying like it was a really well drawn cello. So, anyways, but like since then, just getting accustomed to playing and listening and growing my appreciation, it just became sort of a paraphrase of like what these guys are saying, sort of like a release and
Yeah.
just something you kind of express yourself through, whether it's in like the workout form, like you're playing an instrument that requires a lot of physical exertion, or just something more like expressive or subtle. It's just kind of a means of expression. It's like speaking, but without words.
Yeah, and I feel like I also got a lot more appreciation for what you guys do as well, and I'll give it a shout. But on your website, I feel like you had the full, or actually, it's in your link tree where you have like the full album and you go through kind of the lyricism of each song. And I thought that was really cool because sometimes, again, obviously audio addiction. I'm very much, addicted to music. And so I feel like for myself, it was cool hearing, obviously a lot of bands talk about, mental health but I think to me, you guys went about it in a way that seems like really approachable and like reading some of that stuff in the way that you kind of laid it out in that like full album like setup. I thought that was really interesting and I think it gave me little tidbits of song, parts of songs that I don't feel like I would have gotten if I just like listened to the song like online. So I gotta show appreciation for that because to me, as being such a music nerd as I am, I thought that was really cool. Not only from like the aspect of like okay, they're like documenting it that way, but also in the same point, I think a lot of people might get a lot more meaning out of each individual song because there's a dedication to each one and having like little things about each individual song that makes it unique and maybe somebody will come to up to you at a show and be like I really appreciate what you said about that and separation anxiety or whatever and I think that that's really cool and I hope that bands kind of do a same thing or a similar thing just because I think it's a cool way to get a viewpoint of what you guys do and so wanted to give that a shout so I really enjoyed that but
Appreciate it.
the last thing I have for you guys, the most important thing, tell them where they can find the Inside Out, what you guys have coming up next in the next couple months, and anything else you'd like to plug.
So all of our links to anything we do, shows, merch, is all in our link tree. We kind of opted out of the traditional website, so it's linktree/the Inside Out. Pretty straightforward like that. And if you do want to kind of read up on more of the album, kind of like specifics, like what you were reading on is our No Brains No Blood .jump. That's kind of where you can kind of read through the album in that step-by-step order. And I think the link for that's actually in the link tree also.
It is, yeah.
And we have a show coming up at the Bowery Electric in New York City. That's probably our next show we have coming up, and that's also ticket links are in our website there as well.
Awesome. Well, go check out the Inside Out. I want to again give a shout outs to Erica. Much salutes to her. She's fantastic. So love working with her. So big love to Erica, but also big love to Inside Out. Please go check them out. No Brains, No Blood is out now. There are links in that link tree, and then all of the other links that I said earlier that I'm totally gonna like rewatch and make sure that they're in the description. So go check those links too. Great stuff. Definitely a band that I hope I get to see this year. I am like in the Philadelphia area, so I'm hoping you guys make it out to Philly at some point at this year.
We have plans for that.
All
for
right,
sure.
all right. So gonna be keeping my eyes peeled. So definitely go check out the Inside Out if you do live in the like Connecticut, New York area. Go see them. I'm sure they put on a fantastic live show. So go hang out with them. If you enjoyed this interview, share, like, and subscribe. It goes a long way. It'll also be on audio formats as well. So if you like it, Spotify, Apple Music, you can listen to it while you're like sitting in traffic or whatever, So please go do that. And huge thanks to the Inside Out for coming on tonight and chatting with me.
Ooh, yeah. Thank you for having us.
You're the man. Thank you.
Means a lot, man.